Hello everybody, my name is Bigfoot and today we're gonna be doing a video, or a stream really, and I can hear myself. So let's begin, shall we? Let's let's do our my developing streams. Today we're gonna be continuing developing my repository manager. Specifically, we're gonna be installing some software onto my development machine, doing some MySQL, and maybe even write some C Sharp. And hello our podcast. Good to see you. So let's begin with the development story. So first, before we begin, we're gonna be checking out Wamil software. Let's jump to my main screen. Where is it? I have so many scenes I sometimes get lost. Sometimes my laptop decides it doesn't want to do correct screens. That also happens. HDMI screen, not EDP. That would work. Transition. And here it is. So first I'm gonna clear. Now in last stream I showcased a piece of software called Tie, .NET Tie, which which does tie different .NET C# projects together in a Kubernetes-like fashion. But because we will be working with Kubernetes API, I think that would be kind of just a stepping stone, a really, really bad stepping stone. So why don't I just install a development cluster onto my system? So this will be a small single node cluster. So let's begin. To install this single node cluster, we will be installing something called microK-K8s. So this is installed via snap. It's a snap package. So first of all, sudo snap install microK-K8s. It's microK8s pronounced as K8s. Please, of course, type in our sudo password. And of course, it requires for us to tell it is classic snap. That is classic. This is so we actually understand that it's a classic snap. Now, I might use this clip of me talking about microKDS and showcasing it uh, as a piece of a video. So why don't I just go like that in? So what is microKDS? MicroKDS or microK8s is a Kubernetes cluster for a single machine inside a snap. That's basically what it is. It is maybe a bit more. It's actually a Kubernetes distribution. A tiny bit more than just a Kubernetes cluster in a snap package. It it has certain add-ons you can enable or disable. It has certain settings preset and has other stuff besides just Kubernetes cluster installed as a part of the snap itself. So for example, you have kubectl or kubectl. It's really upon everybody who wants to choose how they call it. Official name is kubectl, or at least that's how most people prefer to call it. I I tend to refer to as kubectl. So there's like stuff like Helm. Helm like a, is a package manager for Kubernetes, and those do have certain stuff like that. So as we see, while I was talking, microK8s installed. So I normally refer to this microK8s even though it's correctly referred to as microK8s. I've got a couple of times I got told I should refer to it properly. So if we look microcates command, we're gonna get, let me just zoom it in so you can see. Oh yeah, you see we have certain available subcommands like add node, with which you can add multiple nodes into to this cluster. You can have it as a even as a high availability cluster, so it can work in certain situations as your own cluster, especially useful in an edge deployments. Like let's say you just have a Kubernetes cluster in a store or something like directly besides your equipment, instead of having a giant one in the cloud or at your main data center. You have small ones anywhere across all of your locations, and it will allow you to have high availability, so failover and stuff like that. It also has Cilium, which I'm not actually aware what it is. I never used this command. Then it got this config. Then in CTR, it, of course, it needs to have uh, a container runtime, what some may know as Docker. So it has a Docker-like container. Actually, this has container IO, which is actually in the backend used on Docker as well. It has a command dashboard proxy, which is used for proxying dashboard. One of the other add-ons is Kubernetes dashboard. dbctl, I believe, is one of the databases inside you can control for high availability. You can disable or enable the whole system, or more specifically, disable and enable here is for different add-ons. Helm 3 and Helm. Helm 3 is for controlling Helm 3, and Helm is for controlling Helm 2 or Helm 3. Istio CTL is for controlling the Istio mesh system. You can use join, so you can on your cluster on your additional nodes you can use join to join what add node shows as information how to join. Juju is a Canonical's deployment utility with which you can deploy as operators. And kubectl is the or kubectl is the main utility most of us will use to control Kubernetes, especially from the command line. Leave is used to leave the cluster. Linkerd is a utility which you can control your Linkerd add-on. With refresh certs, you can refresh certificates, because one of the part of the Kubernetes cluster needs to create certain certificates, like CA certificate. Remove node removes a node from the cluster. Reset resets the whole cluster to out-of-the-box state. Start starts the cluster. Status tells you the status of the system and, or more or less the cluster and its add-ons. Stop stops the cluster, and inspect shows more detailed view of what's going on with the cluster. So if we begin, we can go with microcates.status. You will see it will require for us to have insufficient privileges. At this point, you should activate this command, and then of course relog, so you have the correct permissions. While I won't be relogging during this because I do not want to have problems like stopping the stream, I'm gonna just use sudo. At this point, it will tell us that microcade test is running. There is no high availability, and data store for master node, or the control plane node as it is sometimes referred, is at my local IP at 19001 port. and there is no standby nodes in that for a data store. We have HA cluster enabled, and we have a bunch of these disabled like Ambassador, Cilium, Dashboard, DNS, FluentD, GPU, Helm, Helm tree, Host Access, Ingress, Ist.io, Jaeger, Keda, Knative, Kubeflow, Linkerd, MetalLB. MetalLB is a pretty nice one. It's a load balancer for your Kubernetes cluster. Many cloud services use Kubernetes load balancers, but before Linkerd there was no easy way to have a load balancer on your own Kubernetes cluster. Metrics server is API to access your metrics. Altos, Portainer, Prometheus, RBAC, which is role-based access control. So you have role-based access control, which is used for authorization. Have your own private registry, quickly deployed by your by um, your testing cluster. Same with you can have storage class, which by enabling storage, which will enable you to use your system as PVC or persistent volume for PVCs, persistent volume claims, and you also have traffic ingress. It is like Ingress add-on uses Nginx, I believe, while traffic uses traffic. But at this point, what we need to enable for this to work is specifically is we're going to use .enable. Going to be enabling out of these only DNS, so we can have easy service discovery through DNS. So it's MDNS, but it uses core DNS internally. Core DNS is specifically designed for Kubernetes to be used in Kubernetes environments. Also, we'll also be enabling Helm, or actually we don't need Helm right now. We might be writing Helm later on. Also gonna need probably Ingress and a Metal LB. So we're gonna have a load balancer. We're gonna have to manually assign uh, an IP to Ingress controller, and we might want to use registry. And of course, storage will be automatically enabled because of the registry. And we enable it, and this will start a deployment. These are so okay. Now that we have enabled MetalLB, it will ask us what IP address range shall it give out. So let's give it a local address range of, let's say, 150, 160. I know that that part is empty in my network, so that's what I'm doing. And this will enable everything, and voila. Now let's activate kubectl. This is, oh yeah, sudo. I need to remember to put sudo. Here we go. This is kubectl. Well, that's the basics of micro KTS. Now we have deployed our cluster. Pretty simple, right? You should use, if you ever test anything in Kubernetes, think of kubectl, microK8s. It's really nice to use and quickly deploy a development cluster. And I will use it for my own cluster when I actually use certain Kubernetes-based services. At this point, since we're done with this segment, I'd like to ask you guys, if you haven't already, please like, subscribe, and if you have any questions, please write in chat. It would be appreciated to see you engage. Now, let's see what else we need to do. So of course, when we're actually running this, we're gonna have to be writing certain config files for YAML config files to be able to deploy to the cluster. But for now, let's leave that be. We have more issues, like for example, deploying MySQL to it. So let's me just see something. I believe I have of course I require to enter my password. I believe I have on one of my systems, I believe I have a configuration for it. Okay. So before we do anything, we're gonna go get PV. This will get me storage class, which I will require while deploying that. Microcates-host path. Okay. Okay, new here we go. Let me open up Nano. First I'm gonna find a correct directory where I work. Here. Because I might have something in my home directory that I might not want for you to see. So let's create a directory cube, cd cube. Because I don't know, I have maybe some proprietary stuff in my home directory. You never know. And let's open Nano here and do deploy.yaml. First, we're gonna need a namespace. In Kubernetes, namespace is basically a logical separation of different programs and stuff like that. So, for example, as from my example, I use for myself, I have MySQL database as a namespace. Then you should probably use the persistent volume. So we're gonna do a persistent volume claim. Like for example, this one I use with NFS, which we will transform to be using correct volume class for us. So this would be microcates dash host path. Now, all that remains is deployment, which let me just simply do what needs to be changed here because passwords. Yeah, this will do. Here we go. This is our deployment of actually one pod using one container, which will use a persistent volume claim. This one specifically will have one environment variable called MySQL root password with password. Please do not use such a shitty password, please. Pretty please. Let's make it a bit better, but please do not use such a bad password. This is for test case only, so please do not use such a bad password. As its password, a port of 306 with the name MySQL because port will require a name, might require a name. It will be residing in namespace MySQL database, and it will have a couple of labels within MySQL. So it can be found by our next item on the list, a service. Service is a special item inside Kubernetes which basically opens it to be accessed from other places. One uses load balancer because I use it for my own testing stuff, but if you want to just access it from internally, it's cluster IP, what we want. And inside MySQL database, it opens port 3306 to 3306. And we save this, and now we go to the microcates kubectl apply -f deploy YAML. And it will cry about since I made an error. Oh yeah, I forgot a letter when I copied. Now, let's apply again. Yeah, thank you, our podcast. I figured right away when I got the error. Um, let's see. Now we should go with kubectl. Of course, I probably should go with this since my kubectl is already connected to my production cluster. Yeah, live demos, everything happens, especially when you copy paste. And get all -n MySQL database. It is deployed the MySQL database, deployed the service. It has a deployment, so if we wanted to, we could have multiple instances of it running using the same data. And it has a replica set, so it has connected with the deployment. So currently we have a single container or single pod, more specifically, of MySQL server running, wanting to run, and it runs one, and one is ready, so it's everything's okay, right? Yeah, we wish it was that simple. For the number, yes, it is, but what if we want to connect to it? So let me just get back. I did a whoopsie, and let me see how I can connect into it besides with that. Of course, I could use something like MySQL Workbench, but I don't have that installed right now. Maybe Snap has one. Yes, it does. For downloading Snap MySQL Workbench community. Thanks, Snap. My MySQL Workbench is basically open source, or open source, but it's a GUI utility for MySQL servers Workbench community. And let's wait for it to start. Might take a while because it's the first time, and snaps might take a while first time. So it decided to show me it has a locally speech actually not true. As we can see, there is nothing. Oh, app armor. This might be a problem, right? But let's, yes, see ya. There are other ways of connecting to MySQL servers. Let's exit out of this. Let's see. How could we do this? We could use sudo microcates dot kubectl exec, and then we remember that we don't have the pod name. So let's go back a bit. Let's get everything from that, and let's go like this. Of course, if I would be doing this for serious, I would use external program attached to my system, not the program in the cluster itself, especially in the pod itself. Don't do that on production systems. For testing, might be okay, but not that much, please. Also, know the cluster IP. Good to remember if you have a cluster IP type service. Let's go back to this -it for it to automatically stay connected and actually put us in. Now we're gonna do 2 dashes and a command bash. Oh yeah, forgot to do the namespace. Amazing thing about namespaces is you can actually assign certain users to certain namespaces and don't have access to or to edit or change other namespaces. That's amazing thing about Kubernetes. And we're inside the damn thing. Now we need to remember that MySQL is the command. Access not granted, access denied. So -p. Let's enter password. Let's try to enter it correctly. And we're in. This is how you get in normally. This is the main command line utility for MySQL. And now we can create a new user. Let's do that. Create user. I don't know. Repo manager. Or let's correct things around it. Let's put this, but if it's not, it's gonna cry about it and I'm gonna be sad. Put this, so %sign make it from everything, which is a security risk, but not in a testing cluster. Identified by, which will tell us the password. And again, that password, please don't use it. It's used for a test. 0 rows affected. That means most likely worked. Now, let's create a database. Create database. Repo manager or repo manager db or repo manager. Boom. Of course, this needs to exist. And now we can create a table. Create table. And of course, I forget the syntax of create table. Create table SQL. Always remember, use internet if you have to. Don't be afraid if you forget something like this or stuff like that. The stuff that they're all on internet. Your employer won't pull the cord out just so you can program. It doesn't work that way. So it's good that you know basics, but you also should know how to use internet. Now we're gonna name it. So repositories, and let's go with repositories apt. Now this, and now we have to name if columns. So let's go with column ID, integer, and so we'll give it auto increment. SQL auto increment. Okay, not no auto increment. Let's also make it primary key. Primary. It's primary. Oh yeah, that comes to the bottom, of course. Let's not forget that. Then the next one. Oh, we have easier time sync. We can do a enter and it will drop us in the next line. Name. Varchar. How many? How many letters? Let's see. A name should be something between 1 and like 25 letters or 30 letters. Put 13. Not null. Then next one. What did we else be? Let's see, I opened up Visual Studio Code so you can see the code. And the code is right models. Yeah, repo data. Okay, package management. So just name for now. And this. It will error out, right? I'm gonna fix this right now. And on database selected. Huh. Um, well, I select. Oh yeah. Use repo manager and create. Oh yeah, forgot primary key. This is what I was thinking about. So, primary key ID. That's it. Now let's insert something into it. Insert. Let me just reference it by go in here, insert to repositories apt name values primary repository repo. Let's select everything. Select star from repository apt. Of course, you should probably get out a table with automatically set ID. Most of you probably know what I was doing right now, so it isn't really a thing. But if you didn't, this was MySQL. SQL is a structured query language. Now, this is our first part done. Actually, now we actually know that it actually is working. We just exit out. But before we do anything, I need to see if it actually claimed a volume. Get TVs. And yes, this tells me that it actually used the microKTest host path provisioner for that storage class to create a MySQL database, MySQL PVC, or to create a space. It's a 10 gig space, just enough. And now can continue with our work. Let's clear the screen. So let me see what else is on today's agenda. Let me see. Be right back. I'm gonna take a slight break by grabbing a drink. If I find be right back sign. Okay, a great screen it is. And I'm back. I know it was quick. And let's see. Likes. Thank both of you for liking. Please, if anybody is watching, come on, click that like button. If you don't like it, click it twice. And then click the dislike button twice as well. Uh, let's see. Now, at this point, we're going to be working on what is basically an utility to deploy the database. What should be working in, at least according to my phone. So we're going to create another project here. So here we are. Let's create another directory. This is going to be, at start, it's going to be a separate program, then it will become just a library. And Kadir, data, or you could start as a library already and then just have it be a part of that. That could work. mkdir database deployment cd database deployment there. And in future we can fold this into the actual code, but right now it's gonna be a separate part. So it's gonna be a console application which you can then turn into the class library, which is really easy. Just throw out that main and change a thing or two. Actually easy. You actually create both an application and a like a theme. But right now, like for example, c.mkdir database deployment lib. Go database deployment. Let's go with .NET new console. This will create a new console application. And if we go back, cd database deployment lib, new class lib, new class library, or wait, a new. I think I forgot what I need to input. So class lib. Wow. And if we now go here, and if we now between these two, where the change is, we compare them, we see the differences between the library and not library. This is library. It doesn't have the output type executable. Yeah, that's it. And we're gonna delete this. Don't need it for now. And if we want, we can fold this into the main code as well if we really want to. But I want to keep it as a utility separately, or at least as a library, possibly a utility, because some people might not actually use the web UI, or API, or might deploy it somehow differently. Or they just don't want to use just want to have it pre-deployed if they are doing, say, in-place upgrades or backups and stuff like that. Or just testing. Like I would like to be consistent and have it pre-deploy. So, hmm, actually, on that note, why don't we jump into a different topic? Actually, something more fun. Or should we do this? I don't know. Hmm. What do you guys think? With this, we're gonna be writing a lot of SQL and SQL-related code. But yeah, it actually makes sense, truth be told. And it's actually quite fun. Let's not forget that. So I think we will go with this way. I will also show you some other stuff which you can actually do. So first of all, we're gonna be doing, of course, adding it to the solution .NET. Oh yeah, I went to the .NET SLN add deployment, add database deployment. This, and now if we go back to database deployment, we're gonna do a simple command .NET add package mysql dot data as capitalized S, and if we run this, we're gonna get the, I believe, the latest version of MySQL, or no, we'll see a bunch of dependencies. Yeah, the latest version of the dependency of the MySQL data NuGet package. There is a lot of dependencies in it. Why would you need drawing or strange? I accidentally turned off my microphone. Great job, me. Now, first we need to create a connection. That's my SQL connection. Should be detecting that this exists. Con equals MySQL connection. This will work for now. Let's build it. Something is wrong. Oh, everything works. Oh yeah, we build the wrong thing. Of course, everything will work. Don't have yet a launch for yeah, launch. Attach. We need uh at 5.0, right? It's 5.0. 5.0. It. Oh, project name is database deployment dot val, and it should launch it, right? Yet tasks. just gonna do build right now. Build deploy, and build the db deploy. db deployment does quick and dirty or days, and here this launch. Okay, this, yep, work. Here, select dot it. What's this name? Deploy, deploy, and run. Doesn't build because for some reason it's okay. Abort. What am I missing? Unusing statement. Instruct using. Okay. Okay, so it's not. Huh. Now this is a bit. This is a bit embarrassing. Huh. I know. What I missed. Dot MySQL client. Let's try it again. Of course, Q and L are smaller. This happens when you do. Let's try it again. Hmm. Correct. Let me. Oh yeah. Bravo me. Try again. Huh. Yeah. Okay. Try again. Yes, it does exist. Range. Oh. It. L. And it runs. I can tell. Let's copy this. Should work. Of course, it should have been there. Or this point, I should probably add the test. Let's build it. If we go here, here, run, and it does. So apparently something doesn't want to work. Oh, what can I do? Let's damn. Oh, I know what I missed. No, what I missed. Now this should work. And it does. Yay, worked. Yay. Now, our journey. What do we want to do now? Return to here. Let's close this and let's just go with simple. I'm gonna do what is as a builder. SQL connection dot. Oh, no, my SQL builder, I believe. S X Q MySQL controller. This and comes is control. Or we could just use a simple string. Functions. Of course, this should be a secret. I'm gonna be deploying it to proper Kubernetes or somehow collected from environment variable or something like that. Not just simple this. And my server address for now is going to be that that service -mis database password with this class type is because we're just testing it. And when we're gonna be actually deploying it, it will be actually in DNS name. If the letters are too small, please remind me to zoom them up a bit, like this or this. Huh. Actually, the whole UI increases in size. That's cool. Didn't know that. Here you go, a bit bigger for you guys. Okay, next one would be a port if we actually needed one, but here we don't because it's a standard port. Database, so it's repo manager. We created a user repo manager, but since currently that user has privileges, let's give that user privileges, right? So let's open my terminal. Let's go back into that thing. We're gonna the correct container, and if we go let's go back. Let me see something. Grant all privileges or grant see what kind of privileges I can give him. Grant all privileges. I would not recommend granting all privileges to the user because it's on a database. I'm gonna allow it to repo manager. Is that right? Database, right? Yeah, repo manager dot star. So all tables to, but I forget how we name the users. So let's create a new one. Or I could look into the stream when we did. Yeah, let's see. Okay. Repo manager at, let's add, right? Let's see. Everywhere. Oh yeah. Pass this. Huh, no. Hmm. On. Hmm. Of course, if you just star, it will run, but it gives it all privileges on all tables, which for now is okay, since we're just testing. So repo Manager and password, of course, we know is this, which we do not want, but it works for now. And the other way of doing this would be here and going con dot with connection string but most people do just this. And it's completely fine. Actually, it might be even better from a code management perspective. Then you just need to execute a command. Like this is a command, string command equals, I don't know, create database. Or we already have a database, so create table. And I don't know why, but why don't we just copy this command since we already have it. I'm going to drop the table so we can test it out. Copy. Boom. Boom. Now we do MySQL command summary example equals new MySQL command command waits or whatever the correct is in English, I don't remember right now, con, and we then do con.open and summary dot execute non-query. It should work when we execute it right here. And we have an error. Abort. Is it this? Yes, it is. And we get an error on that table already exists, so we have to first drop it, of course. Use repo manager, drop table repositories apt. Okay. Now, if we execute the program again, yes, exception occurred. That's right. And we should be getting exit. And if we do select, it's an empty set but it does exist. Yes, an empty set but does exist. So now we're gonna have to do this for a couple of other tables. Like for example, what we plan on doing is doing a apt rpm arch. This is for now, of course, there'll be a better even bigger databases. But for now we have just name. We haven't really thought of what else we need to put in there. But we're gonna write basics first. Now I'm going to draw the table again. And now I'm going to do apt rpm arch. And we're gonna do 3 of this and just this, this, and of course this. And as you see, we're gonna be using a single connection. We don't need 3 connections. And we get an error. Of course we get an error. Why? Oh yeah, command is never used. Or initialized actually. That's correct. I make mistakes. Who would have guessed it? And it's done. Yay. Let's see. RPM. Empty set. Nice. We have RPM. Uh, at this point, I would like to point out the YouTube ratings, like hit the like button, subscribe if you haven't already, ring the notification bell to see when I go live next. Also, you could write in chat. Maybe ask a question I might be able to answer. We'll see. At this point, let's see what we have else to do. This is basics. Of course, later on, we'll be adding additional stuff. Now, the next one will be, we're gonna look into the web UI, what we can do there. And let's see, we're gonna be creating a page. We'll create a folder named pages. And we're gonna be moving to this folder in my terminal, cd cd web UI, cd pages. And let's see what we can do. Of course, we're gonna be writing a razor page. But before we can do that, we should write a normal HTML, or should we just directly go to razor? Let's go directly to razor. .NET new. Let's see. Razor page. So .NET new page. There. Now, before we can actually, even if we launch this, like right now, we can rename this index and index. You will see that if I run the web UI, it won't drop us into that index. Why? Because we will need to change some settings. See, it's still in the hello world, which is actually comes from two things. Or you didn't see because it was on the screen. Let me just run it again. I will slowly learn how to be a good presenter. As you see, hello world. We're gonna be disabling a few things and enabling a few things. So we're gonna find the startup. We're gonna be disabling this await map get, and we're gonna be putting in. Let me find the correct thing. I'm gonna have it somewhere on my system as a guide, but I always have hard time finding this stuff because I don't know why. Which one it is? I forget which one it is. I need to go check. I guess this one will work. Now I'm gonna open here startup. So let's go. So what we need to do here, we'll need to configure services dot add razor pages. Then we need to go a bit lower and we're gonna be adding app dot use static files, which will take care of in a second. Actually, right now we're gonna take it. We're gonna create a new folder www.root in which we can put CSS, JS, different libraries, our favicon, stuff like that. And now under endpoints, the important one is endpoints dot map razor pages. So now, of course, index will apparently have to be with the capitalized I. Index. And because it's empty, let's go with simple P. Hello, YouTube. How are you today? Question mark. And let's bold it just for a fun. Let's make it bold. And let's run it now. Here we go. No, absolutely no styling. There it is. As you see, we have created our page. Now, let's exit out of this debug mode and let's think about what we could put here. But before that, let's do a bit of a that so much stuff. So that's me. I need to start writing better commit messages. Now, at this point, here what we'll be getting is we'll be just displaying stuff like, let's see, this is gonna be great at for each, and because here we're gonna do this for right now list of strings test equals new list of strings, and let's just do test dot add Hello. World. Um, var item in test. Yes, yes, yes. Index model. Of course it does. Let's build it again. Let's see. And it's built, so there is no error. So now what we're gonna do with this error, we're gonna disregard, I believe. We can somehow disregard it, my guess. Uh-huh. Okay, let's do that in future. Now let's just p item. Let's add an art there, and that's it. If we now run it, you will see what happened. It works correctly. There we go. Hello world. Now in this we can do different things, like we can add, for example, a table around it. So table like this, and we do table row, no table row, table row, table, no, it's table data, td, so table header. Yeah, let's go with id, and let's go with table header name. Let's make another one. Let's make int x equals 1. Go here. And now we're gonna do table data. We're gonna do table row x, and let's go with another one, tr slash tr. Let's put it at item. course at x, and at the end of for each we need to do at x plus plus. That's all we're gonna do. Or without this, actually. It should work. Actually, this this way now. Let's go x equals x plus 1. Right this way. This should work. Not sure. Let me just try. Oh, this is weird. I think I know. This. Okay, now not a new page, I don't know, but yeah. This should now work. Huh. I know what I could do. Public plus static void increment x plus. At increment x. And here we go. ID name. Huh, this is weird. I'm currently a bit stumped about this, but yeah. I think at this point we can see that I'm also a bit stumped, so I'll have to look into this, but this was just a demonstration, so it really doesn't matter that much. Let us go back to me. Thank you guys for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, ring the notification bell, and this will be the end of the stream. Thank you guys for watching, and goodbye.